With the authority of the Council, I shall now confer the degree of Doctor of the University. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor to make this presentation.
Chancellor, the Council of the University has resolved to award the degree of Doctor of the University to Sir Llewellyn Edwards, AC. Llewellyn Edwards was born in Ipswich in August 1935 and educated at Ipswich Grammar School. After leaving school, he became an electrical apprentice, eventually qualifying as an electrical mechanic and obtaining a diploma in electrical engineering. In 1955, a serious fall from a ladder changed his career plans. Immobilised in hospital for nearly a year, Sir Llew used this period to repeat his senior certificate by correspondence. In 1959, he was accepted into the University of Queensland's Faculty of Medicine, from which he graduated in 1965 with a Bachelor of Medicine and a Bachelor of Surgery. He later conducted a very successful general medical practice until 1972, when he won the seat for Ipswich in the Queensland Parliament. As a politician, Sir Llew had a distinguished career both as Minister for Health from 1974 to 1978 and subsequently as Deputy Premier and Treasurer until 1983. He built up a reputation as one of Queensland's best-known ministers and guided Queensland through an era of unprecedented economic development as Treasurer. Sir Llew retired from politics in 1983 and soon after was appointed to the prestigious post of Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of World Expo 88 and South Bank Redevelopment Authority. Through his untiring efforts and dedicated leadership, this exposition became the most successful expo ever held, with a budget of $625 million and attendance of 18 million people over 6 months, 10 million more than the predicted attendance. As Chairman of World Expo 88, Sir Llew was responsible for bringing Brisbane into the hearts, minds and boardrooms of the world. His international negotiations resulted in a substantial increase in the number of countries participating in the Expo and ensured the resounding success of Australia's largest bicentennial event. The significance of the occasion was best summed up by Sir Llew himself when he said, "As an Australian, I believe that World Expo will be one of the most important events in Australia's history. It will give us a new identity, and when it's over, every Australian will be more proud of his place in the world." Sir Llew Edwards is still active in developmental circles in Queensland and continues to do much to promote this state. He is deeply committed to the development of higher education through his role as Chancellor of the University of Queensland, a position he's occupied since 1993. In business life, he is currently Executive Consultant to the commercial real estate firm Jones Lang Wooten. He also serves as the Chairman of Greyhound Pioneer Australia and is a Director on the boards of a number of important companies, including the Westpac Banking Corporation and James Hardie Industries. In addition, he has served as a Director and is currently Chairman of the Multifunction Polis in Adelaide, an international project designed to provide a model for new industries, environmental management and urban lifestyles for the 21st century. Over the years, Sir Llew has received numerous awards in recognition of his many valuable contributions to the community. In 1984, he was appointed a Knight Bachelor for outstanding services to the State Parliament and the people of Queensland, and in 1989 he was appointed a Companion of the Order of Australia for his outstanding leadership of World Expo 88 and for services to the people of Australia. His other awards include the Australian Tourism Award for the greatest individual contribution to the tourism industry in Australia in 1988, Queenslander of the Year, Enterprise Australia Awards and the Australia Day Award. He was also awarded an Honorary Doctor of Laws from the University of Queensland in 1988. It is especially fitting that the Council of Griffith University should honour Sir Llew in recognition of his long and distinguished contributions to the state of Queensland. Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Llewellyn Roy Edwards, Companion of the Order of Australia, Knight Bachelor, for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University.
I now call upon Sir Llewellyn Roy Edwards, AC, Doctor of the University, to deliver the occasional address.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. Deputy Chancellor, Mr. Vice-Chancellor, members of Council, graduates and ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely honoured and proud to have received this honorary doctorate from Griffith University. Your very kind decision to do this to me has been of great importance to me personally. I have great respect for your university, and to be awarded this degree gives me a closer link with you in the future, but a feeling of deep appreciation for your kindness in this regard. I assure you of my continuing interest, Mr. Chancellor, and support of your activities at your university. May I also take the opportunity to congratulate you on your 25th anniversary. You have achieved a great deal in that time, and I wish you continuing success in the future. May I also take the opportunity to congratulate the graduates today and wish them every success in your future career. Education is at a most interesting stage, with greater accountability being demanded by governments and the community for universities to give the highest qualities in the choice of students and in the delivery of products at a cost the community thinks it can afford. This challenge, of course, has long been with universities in this country, as they've had to grapple with the problems of demands for the highest standards possible, as I said, at a cost the community considers it can afford, not only in teaching requirements and standards, but also in research. Students nowadays enter often a particular course as a result of their entrance score, rather than their desire perhaps to undertake a particular course. And such entrance, of course, is highly competitive. Universities are being continually challenged to produce higher levels of research, higher standards of teaching, with pressure as well to produce graduates able to fill limited job opportunities or to move to postgraduate demands and challenges. Many graduates, such as I, do not necessarily remain in the field of their primary degree or qualification, but move to other challenges or opportunities. Perhaps if I had stayed in my original profession, I may not have suffered from the voice that I'm suffering from today. But I personally have done this movement with no regrets, for I was able to do this with some success as a result of the undergraduate study and discipline, giving to me a broader vision and desire to use that basic training and education within a university to develop and mature, so that my contribution to my original qualification, whilst rewarding and exciting and stimulating, it allowed my horizons to be broad enough to accept new challenges and interests and pursuits undreamed of as a young undergraduate or even as a new graduate. I wish you, as graduates, every success. I congratulate you on your achievements so far. You have completed the formal requirements to obtain a degree or a diploma or a certificate or qualification, and I hope that you will have as much satisfaction and pleasure from the outcomes of your qualifications as I have in my lifetime. As I indicated earlier in my speech, the role of universities has changed enormously over the past 25 years, and I suspect will change even more in the next 25 years. We are continually in the public eye, and rightly so, and we've been able to produce graduates who have contributed enormously to academic, professional, business, corporate and political life in this country and overseas. The universities have withstood inquiries, investigations, commissions and many other forms of checks on our performances, our results and our products. Probably, Mr. Chancellor, no other aspect of Australian life has been examined so repeatedly as universities. Recently, we all underwent quality assurance reviews on aspects of our activities, and according to that review, were rewarded financially in some sense for our performance. We seem to continually have changes in ministers at a state and national level, and of course governments come and go as well. But all this has been part of a system in which the community as a group probably understands very little of what occurs within our hallowed walls. But we do have and must have some basic principles which we should never allow to change. Our freedoms, our accountability, our demands for excellence, our tolerance and understanding of other views, our pursuits of challenges in research and teaching and dialogue. But I think that we do need to communicate much more with the community, particularly the business community. Universities are now big business, and we deserve to be understood and respected by business and supported by business as much as possible. We need to be part of the business community, and our staff share the corporate world a great deal, much more than we have done in the past. There is still very little communication, unfortunately, between universities and the community, or perhaps between the community and universities. And I think we need to resolve this rapidly so the benefits that you and I have shared can be shared with the wider community. Greater interchange will bring rewards for both, and the wide range of understanding, talent and competency within universities is not recognised enough by the community. As I said, I wish the graduates every success in the future, for we live in an exciting world where changes are occurring in science and technology, in education and medicine, and many other fields which are rapid and exciting. In the field of science, for example, the changes have been phenomenal, with the use of molecular biology techniques, the valued input of electron microscopy. Many exciting and beneficial and easily acceptable changes have occurred. In medical science, my original discipline, the changes have also been remarkable. Imagine just 50 years ago, we had very few antibiotics. Very few children were immunised or vaccinated. And the scourge of poliomyelitis and diphtheria, as examples, were devastating to children. I remember when as a 10-year-old that a child in my class died from poliomyelitis. Ipswich Hospital, in my home city of Ipswich, had a ward of 30 beds built in 1930 as an isolation ward to nurse people with infectious diseases away from the community or the rest of the hospital. I was told when I went to the hospital as a young resident medical officer that isolation ward was continually full in those days, and the only treatment for some diseases was the high standard of basic nursing care, attempting to reduce temperatures of children, decreasing the risk of spread of disease, and waiting wherever possible for the acute effects of the ravages of disease to pass. And up to 15% of all children died of infectious diseases who were admitted to that hospital. The advent of antibiotics in the 1940s closed that ward almost immediately. And I could spend a lot of time relating similar stories of the changes that have occurred over the last few years with the advent of computerisation, better information systems, and so forth. So it is an exciting world of which you are now a part as a graduate. And there is still, of course, a great deal more to come in your career. You'll be part of the broadening and continuing expansion and use and demand for knowledge. At the same time, unfortunately, we have seen many aspects of civilization which have not improved or expanded with such remarkable advances. Our crime rate has increased with alarming impact on society. Our misuse and abuse of alcohol and drugs have had damaging effects on society. In some cities in Australia today, 14% of all admissions to hospitals are related directly or indirectly to the misuse and abuse of alcohol and drugs. Similarly, despite the enormous wealth our country has generated, we still have many people living below the poverty line, with resulting social, cultural, and health damages and problems. No doubt, as young visionaries, as you should be at the time of your graduation, you are asking questions how, on one hand, we have all these remarkable advances and developments and changes, but on the other, we have these increasing social, cultural, and many other problems. May I, at your graduation ceremony, have the temerity to suggest a couple of ways by which we may be able to have an impact in the future. Firstly, may I urge you to seek after excellence in everything you do, particularly in your field of education. It's so easy to accept mediocrity as the norm, but we need young people with a vision for the future, a glint in the eye, the development of an impossible dream, to improve Australia from a state of ordinary achievement to a level of high expectancy. I've told this story before, and my wife tells me I tell it too often, so I asked you to accept my apologies, but it had a big impact on me. Sir Edmund Hillary visited us at Expo. He, as you remember, was the first man to reach the peak of Mount Everest. And he was asked by some young people at Expo why he had kept going, fighting against the winds and the snow, the shortness of breath and the enormous difficulties that no human had previously beaten. He thought for a few moments and said to the young people gathered with him, I guess I just kept my eye on the top of the mountain. I hope that in your future career and in your life ahead, that whilst acknowledging the enormous difficulties that sometimes may come your way, and recognising the problems that at times may seem to overwhelm, you will keep your eye on the top of the mountain and seek to attain and achieve the impossible dream in that achievement. Secondly, I trust that you will consider this achievement of your degree, diploma or certificate as the beginning of a new horizon. The award of your degree does not mean the end of your formal or informal studies. The need to update the further qualifications is vital if we are going to gain the best from this degree or diploma or certificate. And the changing demands within our disciplines and the requirements of new challenges will mean we cannot remain satisfied with our present achievement, or indeed will our employers be satisfied. The nation and you and your family have a huge investment in yourself and in you, as I said already, and we need to capitalise on that investment as you contribute back to the community. This may mean that you will be continually demanding in the pursuit of knowledge, that occasionally you may be controversial, that you will question and challenge, but achievers take nothing for granted, and this country needs achievers. And finally, I would ask you to take pride in your country. Australians have, I think, at times become a little introverted and have not been as patriotic or proud of this great country as we should. This is a wonderful country, made up of about 18 million people from over 130 nations, along with our original Australians, blending together, recognising each other's unique and important background, but needing to work and live and relax together as one nation to strengthen the bonds that can bind us together. Sometimes I think we're a little too relaxed, as Australians tend to be, about the importance of national pride, but many sacrifices have been made to give us those freedoms, those rights and those opportunities afforded few countries throughout the world. My grandfather, who was very special to me, came to this country as a 12-year-old Welsh migrant, having already been at work for 2 years in the coal pits of the Rhondda Valley. He was sent out here by his parents to try a new life, separated from them to live with an aunt and her husband in a suburb in Ipswich. He worked in a coal mine for nigh on 40 years, with no formal education, but he read and listened and gained knowledge, urging his children and his grandchildren to study and work hard, to enjoy music and theatre, to play sport, to value the family, and to seek freedom of expression of opinion in every way of life. In all this, despite his humble beginning and his extremely limited education, he gave to all of us who were proud to be his descendants a rich heritage to love his adopted country, Australia, to fight hard for our beliefs, to accept challenges, not to follow, he said, but to lead by example and to contribute to life. He lived life differently to most, but he gave of his best to enrich his 12 children and their grandchildren, to strengthen the bonds between them and to respect others' opinion, whilst prepared fiercely with Welsh enthusiasm to debate whatever issue he thought was worth debating, but always willing and ready to acknowledge the rights and views of others. He loved his new country, and he was grateful for the rest of his life to be part of the growth and development and to leave those memories for those of us who followed him to cherish and continually recall. Mr. Chancellor, I remember the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games, held just a short distance from your magnificent campus. The time had arrived for the beginning of the ceremony, and those present and watching the huge television set heard the silence penetrated by a kookaburra laughing quietly at first and then louder, and then silence followed by a coo-ee, quietly at first but louder to finish, and then the soft music beginning and becoming louder as well, of that great Australian song, I Still Call Australia Home. The emotion of the moment was felt by all. Australia was on display. We needed that spirit of Australia, and Brisbane and Australia showed to the Commonwealth how proud we were. At Expo 88, our theme or slogan was, "Together we will show the world," and we did. Young people, older people, students and graduates, entertainers and technologists, the universities together joined us, and together we worked to give the world an exposition of Australia's and the world's achievements that no country had ever been able to give before. I hope that you today, with your parents and spouses and friends, will accept the challenge that I've tried to share with you. As you and I accept our degree, mine an honorary degree, with great pride and great honour. Let us go from this ceremony with a determination to strive, to work, to contribute in such a way that where there is division, together we will strive for unity. Where there is prejudice, we will work for reconciliation. Where there is disadvantage, we will fight for justice. Where there is anger, we will attempt to bring peace. And where there is fear, we will stimulate hope. Today is a happy day for us who are receiving awards, and also for our families and friends, and I'm extremely honoured and proud to share it with you on this special occasion.